NASCAR doesn't suck, it's just you. Here are my thoughts on the state of the sport and why I think 2025 is going to be a pretty big year for NASCAR. In my comments, I see a lot of NASCAR died when Dale died in 2001. The sport's gone into a place where it cannot come back from. The drivers that are in there shouldn't be in there. They question the races that are on the schedule, such as the Chicago Street Course, Mexico. You have different other configurations like Indy coming back on the oval. That's been a big topic of discussion too. And I've noticed that fans are just arguing, and it's a specific kind of fan. And I'm also noticing the flip side, that there's a ton of fans that are excited about the sport and where the direction that it's headed. And so I want to share some facts with you. I looked at the 2023 TV ratings comparatively to the 2024 TV ratings. And comparatively to 2023 to 2024, obviously the Daytona 500 had about 2 million less viewers, but for the 2024 race. But overall, there was less variance in TV ratings across 2020 comparing 2024 to 2023 in favor of 2024. There was not a race that dipped anywhere near the same levels that had happened in 2023. And also, you saw more consistency within the ratings and an overall increase in around 75 to 80% of the categories. And that shows great signs. And why it shows great signs is because it shows that the cars are getting somewhat better. We had the fire issue, we had the tire issues, obviously going on in 2023, 2024. But now we're going into another year with this next gen car, the Gen 7 car, and there's tons of improvement. And I want to talk about the 2025 season and why I anticipate this being a great season. You have the most diverse schedule that we have had probably to date when it comes to the NASCAR Cup Series. You're going to COTA, you're going to the Chicago Street Race. I hope they keep that, or at least rotate that with other street races in the future. You have the Mexico race, which is huge for the Cup Series. I don't think people understand how big that is for the Cup Series. Going to a track that Formula One races on is going to be huge. I think it's going to be a huge opportunity to grab that market share. Also, I want to make a point that NASCAR has been going through a lot of changes recently, and a lot of fans simply don't like the changes, no matter if it's good, no matter if it's bad. When it's subjectively neither, it's hard to make that call that all NASCAR is doing is in the wrong. And I see a lot of that in my comments. I see a lot of people saying this move is bad, or going to the dirt and trying that is bad. And then once they get to the dirt, they're like, oh, it's terrible. You got to remove it. You got to go back, or let's diversify the schedule. And then they get mad at the choices that NASCAR makes. I will say that I anticipate, or I appreciate rather, the try and the attempt. And I'm a fan of the Chicago Street Race. I'm going to be a fan of the race in Mexico as an overall motorsports fan. That's my whole presence, is talking about all different forms. And NASCAR is moving in a good direction, I believe. When looking at the global state of motorsports, look at IndyCar. Out of the big three, NASCAR, IndyCar, and Formula One, NASCAR is the only series that hasn't gone international in the main series. IndyCar goes to Toronto. Obviously, Formula One is global. But when you look at NASCAR, they haven't made that leap yet, and they're making that leap in Mexico, which is an improvement. And I clap for and I cheer for the changes that are being made. And so you have that specific fan that's going to be mad no matter what. No matter what change it is, to the car, to the driver. I have some people getting upset that Martin Truex Jr. is racing in the Daytona 500. I mean, you can never seem to please that certain kind of fan. And that's something I also want to talk about, is the 2025 season and looking at the Daytona 500 that happens in a month. The Daytona 500 this year, I think, will be probably the most star-studded race we have seen, and it is going to draw more eyeballs. If Helio Castroneves actually can make the field, if Martin Truex Jr. can make the field, if Jimmy Johnson can make the field, and all these drivers can actually be in there, ratings are going to increase, because you're going to have those fan bases of those drivers want to watch their driver again. Specifically talking about MTJ, that's going to bring all those fans back. Then you have an IndyCar legend coming and racing, potentially going to be in the field. I think that you have a great opportunity to start off the season literally with the greatest race, with some of the greatest drivers that we have seen. And looking at what NASCAR has also done, they've dedicated a specific amount of money towards promoting the series when it comes to investing in the drivers and having the drivers promote the series. That's a step in the right direction. Also, with this new deal with Tubi, that they are going to have a dedicated NASCAR channel that gives you 24/7 NASCAR coverage, that is going to be monumental in getting new fans involved. So if I'm talking to a new fan, I'm going to recommend they go watch Tubi. And whatever's on it, it doesn't matter what's on the NASCAR channel. If you are watching the NASCAR channel, you are going to get knowledge that a lot of fans have not been able to do for free up to this point. Excuse me if you hear Discord notifications. Either way, I anticipate the 2025 season being better than a 2024 season. It's going to be hard to top that. I'm a William Byron fan. He won the Daytona 500. But I think that, non-biasedly, I think that this season could be one of the best. Like I said, you have a lot of new faces and a lot of new places. You have some new drivers coming up through the ranks. Typically, that creates some chaos within the entertainment factor because you have drivers that are going to teams that they haven't had experience with or have had a little experience with and reuniting with other crew members and crew chiefs, and that creates suspense. Also, we have the most diverse schedule to date. I want to hit that home. And I want to implore, if you're a motorsport fan, to watch NASCAR with an open mind, because I think that NASCAR can be entering an era alongside Formula One, alongside IndyCar, to get more recognition towards motorsports as a whole. We've seen what Formula One's been able to do with Drive to Survive. We've seen what IndyCar's been able to do with a new Fox deal and the great commercials that have come out of it. I think that Full Speed could be that unlock to reach that new fan that will carry the sport. And that's my point here. NASCAR doesn't suck. It doesn't. As somebody who watches a lot of different motorsports and looks at motorsports not only in the eye of a fan, in the eye of marketing, in the eye of trying to get people's attention, NASCAR is making all the right moves. They're making all the right chess moves. Now, will they stick? That is the big question. That's the big question that I'm very curious to see. I'm excited for Full Speed. I'm excited for Tubi being a partner of NASCAR to have the NASCAR channel. I'm excited for all the entries in the 2025 Daytona 500. I'm excited for what's going to happen this season with all these new drivers and new places and new cars. I'm excited to see what happens over the course of the February all the way to November when we crown the champion, and see how this season is going to unfold. I anticipate ratings are going to be higher than 2024 for the NASCAR Cup Series for the Daytona 500. Now, can they sustain that? That's the question. Who knows? But I think that the 2025 season is going to be great. And the last thing I'll say is NASCAR doesn't suck. It really is just you. If you think NASCAR sucks, okay, fine. I think you should take a little bit more of a look into it and see what actually sucks. If you have something that actually has some substance to it, great. I'm not saying NASCAR is the greatest thing in the world. There are issues. It happens. There's issues with everything. But I think that there's a lot more good than bad in NASCAR, specifically in the NASCAR Cup Series. If you're a motorsports fan, I would love for you to subscribe. My name is John DeRudris, the Motorsport Enthusiast, and I talk all things motorsports. If you haven't been able to tell from literally my shelves of NASCAR diecast, there's Max Verstappen, got Charles Leclerc right there, Dale Earnhardt Sr., a bunch of William Byron. I have Joseph Newgarden right there. If you're a motorsport fan, I would love for you to subscribe, to join the Motorsport Enthusiast community. I'm growing this on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. 751 proud, or 761 proud up to this point on YouTube. So I am going to start putting out more content just like this, talking to the camera. If you're a motorsport fan, I will hope, and if you haven't watched NASCAR, I hope you tune into the Daytona 500, learn a little bit. Yes, it can be boring at times. I'm going to put that right there, but look at it with an open eye. Follow one driver, pick one driver to follow the entire race. It'll be a lot more interesting if you keep up that way. And I hope to see you on the next video.